Hello, Professor. My name is George Tiagi, and in this presentation, I'm exploring how transparency in AI builds trust in the corporate world. Companies of today are relying on AI for decisions that affect people's lives. This is why transparency is essential. My goal today is to show why AI transparency matters, what it looks like in practice, and how it helps organizations act responsibly and ethically. AI is shaping decisions in healthcare, finance, criminal justice, and hiring. These are all sensitive areas where fairness and accuracy really matter. Transparency helps people understand how a system reaches a result. It reveals what data was used, what assumptions are built in, and where risks might appear. This allows the user to trust the system, hold developers accountable, and make informed choices. This also supports ethical behavior and legal compliance. This slide breaks transparency into four main parts. First, the data source disclosure, which explains where the training data came from and whether it contains bias. Second, algorithm documentation, which shows how AI systems work behind the scenes. Third, outcome explanation, which gives people a reason for the given result. And finally, continuous monitoring, which checks performance over time and catches problems early. Transparency makes it easier to spot and correct bias before it harms people. It also strengthens accountability because clear documentation shows how each decision was made and who is responsible for it. When users can see how an AI system works, they trust it more and feel comfortable relying on it. On top of that, transparency helps companies meet regulations like the GDPR and the EU AI Act, which require explainable and well documented systems. Unfortunately, there are still major barriers. Some models operate like black boxes, which make their internal reasoning extremely difficult to interpret even for the people who built them. As models grow more complex, the gap between what they do and what we can fully explain keeps widening. Companies also worry that revealing too much about their systems could expose trade secrets or weaken their competitive edge, so they often hesitate to share details that would improve transparency. On top of that, many developers are rewarded for accuracy and speed rather than explainability, so clarity becomes a lower priority during development. All of these factors show that achieving transparency is not automatic. It requires intentional design choices, careful planning, and in many cases, a regulatory push by organizations towards more open and responsible practices. Organizations have several practical ways to improve transparency. They can open source parts of their code or allow independent audits, which could help uncover issues early. They could have clear documentation of data sources and processing, which makes the whole system easier to trace and evaluate. They could also involve stakeholders, which could help them better understand how their models impact real communities. And by releasing regular impact reports, companies can stay accountable and give the public a clearer view of how their system performs. There are clear examples of how transparency makes AI more trustworthy. For example, in healthcare, explainable models show which areas of an image influenced a diagnosis. This helps doctors verify the system's reasoning. Another example is in finance. Transparent lending tools give applicants specific explanations for loan decisions, which reduces discrimination concerns and improves user confidence. Open source platforms like TensorFlow and PyTorch also demonstrate how openness speeds up innovation, while allowing the wider community to spot issues that individual companies might miss. Policies around the world are raising the expectations for AI transparency. The GDPR was passed in 2018 and gave people the right to understand automated decisions that affected them. The EU AI Act was later passed in 2024, and it took a risk based approach and required more detailed transparency from high impact systems. On top of this, new standards continue to emerge as governments and industries recognize the need for explainable and accountable AI. Companies now have to adapt to these requirements whilst also maintaining strong ethical practices. Transparency does much more than meet legal rules. It supports inclusivity by letting communities identify and challenge unfair outcomes. It strengthens informed consent because users can understand how a system works and what its limits are. Openness also improves reliability through continuous feedback and public scrutiny. This gives the people more control by making it possible to question or appeal automated decisions. These benefits help AI hold fairness and respect fundamental human values. In my presentation, I propose that transparency should be treated as a core responsibility in the development and use of AI. It promotes ethical behavior, prevents harm, and strengthens public trust. Organizations need to invest in explainable systems and ongoing evaluation. Policymakers must continue building strong frameworks that encourage transparency across industries. And all of us should stay aware how AI systems influence our decisions and opportunities. With real commitment to transparency, we can guide AI in a direction that supports society as a whole.